Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So it's been a little while since we've worked on the Canoe. It's been roughly about a month or so. July was extremely humid, a lot of moisture in the air. Didn't really feel like doing any woodworking when there's that much humidity, that much moisture. And we had a lot of other things going on. We were on vacation and doing a lot of fishing trips and stuff like that. So we're back working on the Cedar Strip Canoe. And for those of you who maybe are just now tuning into this little series, we're using the book, How to Build a Cedar Strip Canoe by Gilpatrick. So we're following along with that. What we're doing is we're building an 18.5 foot white guide canoe. So the plan is today is to finish all the cedar strips. We got to get the bottom of the hull completely done. I've already made the transition around the hull. So now we just have the flat bottom of the hull to lay cedar strips. What are we? We're in the first week of August. We better get working because I want this done probably by the beginning of September. Because we've got hunting season coming and then colder weather, and I need to free up this bay so I can get my truck back in for the winter time. And yeah, so it's time to finish this up. So anyway, let's get cooking. Let's get the cedar strips done. We'll get the rest of this hull done and then move on from there. So one thing that I've had fun using while building this canoe is instead of using, your standard electric miter saw, by DeWalt or Makita or whatever, my grandfather was a Finnish carpenter, and I went over to my parents' house and I got his old miter saw, which is right here. And it's easy for cutting these small strips. Cuts them very accurately. I can keep it in out of the rain, keep it right inside, there's no noise. And there's something organic about using hand tools and cutting wood or shaping wood or milling wood by hand. It's very enjoyable. So I've really enjoyed using that. So instead of using an electric miter saw, just using that to miter my ends when I go to connect the cedar strips together. A couple strokes of that saw and it cuts right down through them. So just to reiterate again, we're just closing in the cedar strip canoe. So we're going to put the remaining strips on. We've already made the transition up around the hull. We get the last little strip around the end to transition up around. So we transition in around that bend on the canoe, which is a little tricky getting that wood to kind of make that transition from going from the side of the canoe up to the bottom. I used a lot of clamps, a lot of screws, and staples where needed, but really a lot of clamps. Let's get to work on those cedar strips so we can get this thing closed in. So I want to show you real quick on the ends. My two ends are meeting, so there's not going to be a full strip that's coming up around to meet the other side, if that makes sense. Well, I'll show you right here what I'm talking about. So I'll use a plane to taper that edge of this strip down until it will receive the full size of the strip, where the bottom of the canoe opens up more. And I'll do the same thing with this side over here. Get those to meet nice and cleanly in the middle, and then I'll do the same thing on the other end. And then what we're going to do, and I'll demonstrate this as I lay the strips, but what we'll do is, as I get up here, I'm going to have to alternate laying my strips, and they're going to basically you're going to have to miter the ends to meet the opposite side. So I'll take a block plane. So you're going to have the cove of one strip meeting the cove of the other. So what I'll do is I'll take a plane and I'll roll over that mitered edge so it will be received in the opposing cove. And then what I'll do is so one strip on this end, mitered in to meet the cove of the receiving strip. Then I'll go down on the same side and do another mitered end there, and I'll leave a space in the middle, and I can put my last strip in the middle of those two mitered pieces. So I'm not trying to customize a mitered piece the exact length that I need to fit. I can basically just do one straight piece to fit perfectly in between those two mitered ends, if that makes sense. You'll see when I go and do it. It's easier than just making a continuous strip all the way down and then mitering the end, rolling it over, and getting it to fit to the exact correct length so there's no gap. So you'll see what I mean when I start laying them. So it's going to be a little work, a little bit of shaping those strips to get that to come over the end. But we're going to do that, and then that bottom should go pretty quick. There, we made the transition over to the bottom of the canoe. So now we're just working on the flat bottom of the canoe. And kind of want to wait till those ends dried a little bit so I can unclamp them. And then, so now we just get the very bottom to finish. So no more transitions to make, nothing like that. So let's get that done. All right, so at this point on the bottom of the canoe, we've got basically a football-shaped opening. So we're gonna have to taper the ends of each of our strips to meet that tapered intersection. So I just roughly marked where I'm gonna taper the end of the strip. So I'll take a block plane, shave her down, and then round it off to make a little bead to fit into the opposing cove. And I'll do that on both ends, and then we'll meet with a piece in the middle. So we'll see how that goes. There, we'll see how that fits. It's almost like a glove. I gotta taper a little bit more off of it. So now, as you can see down on that end, I've got a piece in there that I've got mitered in place, and then we come down here, and I got a piece in there that I got mitered in place. And now I just have to fit a piece from there to there. So now I don't have to worry about fitting a mitered end piece at just the right size, you know, finishing it off at just the right length. It's a little easier just to fit one in the middle of two mitered pieces. So there, I'll just keep doing that process back and forth. I'll do one side and then do the other side. We'll just keep doing that and closing in the bottom of the canoe. And it shouldn't take too long to finish that off. Well, there, it is now the next day. I ran out of light last night. Finally get all the strips in, so the hull is completely closed in. It's ready to have all the staples removed. So I've done about a quarter of the canoe, removing the staples. Then get the staples removed. I'm probably gonna move it outside in the backyard next decent day, next day that the rain decides to stop. And I'll sand down the entire hull. And get it prepped for the finish and putting the fiberglass on. Yeah, we'll have gunnels to do, thwarts, decks. Yeah, it was fun. It's fun when you finally, complete one phase of a project and kind of sit back and look at it. Like I said, last night was a late night and get that final piece back in, which was kind of a bear. Basically was doing everything with a block plane, kind of customizing it to, every little strip, getting down to the last few, they all fit individually. So I basically customized each strip with a block plane and got them to fit just right, so it was nice and tight and no gaps. So pretty happy with it. That phase is done, and time to move on to the other stuff. So got any questions or you want to add something, leave it in the comment section below. So until next time, get outside. It's good for the soul. See ya.